Hello. My laptop is very sad and broken right now. It is currently at the doctor's for an estimated 5 to 10 days, so I can't do any illustration or animation right now. I did, however, pick up some fabric for a few sewing projects so I could stay creative while I wait for that to be done. And then I thought that maybe recording a video on my phone would be a cooler way to share these rather than just posting pictures of the final project. So here we are. First thing I did was trace the pattern design onto the fabric. Having it be such a small scale, I wanted to be very precise with my stitches, which ended up here just being a simple back stitch for every single piece. I obviously made sure that I left a little bit of room at the bottom of every single one so I was able to turn it right side out. But yeah, this step is really boring. I only recorded myself backstitching the TinaKitten flower emote and then cut out most of that anyway because this is just really, you just backstitch it all. This is the step. If you're using this as a tutorial, just backstitch it, all of it for an hour. You'll be fine. You got this. So after that, then I cut out the pieces. I like to do the sewing before cutting it out because while you're handling it, the edges will fray. And with how much you need to sew each little piece, it's just better to cut it out after you're done sewing rather than before. Once that's all done, you get to turn it right side out, stuff it, and I sewed each piece together with a ladder stitch. A ladder stitch is a good way to sew things together to make it look like you sewed it together normally with a normal seam. This is one of the best stitches that you can do to close stuffed animals or other 3D shapes that you can't actually sew a seam into like normal sewing. The only side note I have here is that some of these pieces were so small that I did have to use a tweezers to turn them right side out. It kind of sucked. TinaKitten stand especially was difficult to do anything with. I got it done eventually at the end. Again, I didn't film a lot of that one, but I do like it. I think it turned out fine. I just did not film it because it was quite a hassle to get everything turned out and sewn together nicely. So once all the pieces are stuffed and sewn closed, then you can sew them together. I used a combination of ladder stitches and whip stitches, little tack stitches just to keep them in place, depending on the part and where it was going, how it needed to face, all these little things. You just got to do whatever you need to do to get these pieces together. As long as they are small, clean stitches, it'll be fine. It doesn't matter which stitch you're using, just sew it down. And make sure that you are looking at it in all different angles because it is a 2D turned into a 3D, so you do have to make sure that it looks good on the 3D scale as well as accurately mimicking the look of that 2D emote. For the chain on top, I just used a fuck ton of whip stitches to get it down. You could theoretically use a piece of fabric as the first loop, sort of like a fabric piece of the chain to start the chain onto the fabric keychain. This is just a little much in my opinion, and I think it's super duper fine in my experience to just sew it down with thread. I tied little bows onto each chain so that we could have some pink in there, make it real cutesy, because TinaKitten is quite cute all the time. Now we get to go painting. This is my favorite part. I did do the TinaKitten flower on the first day and finished the other 3 on my second day of filming. So at the very least, you are going to see a palette shift in between those 2 sessions. I did try to mix the same colors so everything could be consistent across the 4 keychains, but yeah, that's just, you're gonna see it, that's fine. I chose to do a dark purple color instead of black for the normal line art for these. Pro streamer TinaKitten tends to use a lavender color to do the shading on her emotes. And I thought that using purple for the line art would be a good way to represent this without overworking the fabric and painting it to the point it doesn't even look like fabric anymore. TinaKitten flower and TinaKitten stand both have very minimalistic faces to draw better attention to their characteristic aspects. The welcoming, comforting flower of TinaKitten flower and of course the menacing stand of TinaKitten stand. So they were pretty quick and easy paints to do, not a lot to say there. Then we get to the TinaKitten Happy and the TinaKitten. Both of these had a level of artifice that I really wanted to take my time to study to make sure that I was capturing the likeness accurately. There are these details in TinaKitten Happy that I didn't want to go unchecked. The freeform pink triangles dotting each ear and then the pink nose having a strong defined outline. There are 3 whiskers on each side of the face, each having a gentle curve, and then that middle whisker being just shorter than the others. This emote is a masterful caricature of a cat that I wanted to make sure that I was truly honoring and not just going off of memory at the expense of losing that quality attention to detail that it has. TinaKitten as well, I took my time to understand in full before I moved on to paint it. I am a little upset because I really didn't get the eyes right, and I wish that I had spent more time understanding the shapes put together to make those eyes as unique as they are. But the most important part, or my favorite part, is the mouth. I'm consistently drawn toward the straight left side of the mouth juxtaposed to the larger curve on the right side. There is a consistent balance of asymmetry to create a natural, almost lifelike expression of beauty where no two sides are alike. This is a realistic standard of beauty that I hope to keep in mind in my future art, and not worry too much about making things perfectly symmetrical every single time. Thank you, Abe, not only for this masterful emote, but for the hidden wisdom within. But yeah, that's all I have for this video. I should have my laptop back in about a week, so I can go back to illustrating and animating and all the things that I usually do. I have a few more projects on the docket for sewing while I wait for all of that to happen, but not gonna lie, making a video on your phone is a little bit difficult, and I truly don't understand how the 8-year-olds do it. If you end up making a TinaKitten keychain, please at me. I am Abducted Entity on both Twitter and Instagram, so I should be pretty easy to find no matter what. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.